Hello everybody, welcome back to another video where I talk over Stardew Valley pretty much. And today I wanted to talk about neurodivergency and is it really that divergent, at least in the sense that people tend to think of it. Because you have these two terms, you have the neurodivergency and you have the neurotypicals. Now, people like to say neurodivergent just means you're different, but I think a lot of people secretly think neurotypical means they're better, like they're the norm. That means they are the ones who are correct in that sense. So a lot of people also act like that, particularly neurotypicals as well, but some neurodivergent people as well. And I was thinking, are they really, is the norm correct, if you want to use that term? I want to use the term for now because I want to kind of explain what I'm trying to, what I'm thinking about, basically. So I've been told a lot, particularly recently, that people think that I need structure, otherwise I can't do anything, and everything has to be planned out, everything has to be sorted out, everything has to be detailed and all that sort of thing before I can do anything, because otherwise I'm just completely lost and stuff like that. That's like the label that I've gotten. But if I have some time off, like a weekend or something, it's not like I'm itemizing everything that I'm gonna do. There's just a couple of things that I want to get done, but I don't need them done at a specific time in a specific way. It's just whenever I feel like now's the moment, I'm gonna do it. Just loosey-goosey, that type of thing. And my holidays, whenever I have more than a week off, I haven't planned anything really. Like the weekends, I'll have a couple of things that I want to do, and I'll do them when I want to. And it's not like I have super structured plans for anything. It just happens when it happens. But I think people think that everything in my life is completely barcoded and labeled, like my house is one big warehouse with everything in its own little box somewhere and super neat and tidy and everything, but my house is looking pretty normal. It's actually kind of messy. I know where everything is, but that's just because of the ADHD thing. I have a lot of hobbies, not a lot of space, and although I try to keep things organized, it just doesn't always work, because with my ADHD side, I'll want to work on something, and then I think of something else, and I'll be working on that, and everything that's related to either of those activities is out in the open, and then I stop working on either of those, and I work on something else, and then all the stuff related to that goes out into the open, and then kind of stays there for a couple of days, etc., etc. So that's kind of what my house looks like most of the time. Anyway, so I'd have to disappoint people who think that I live in some type of lab with everything color-coded and sorted according to size or whatever, even though that's how they probably imagine that's how I live. What is the case, though, is particularly when I'm at work, when I feel like I'm here, I'm being paid to do things, if I see that things are not efficient, I want to make them efficient, because time is money. You can only spend it once, so you might as well spend it in a way that it's going to be useful. And if I then see people spending an enormous amount of time doing things that I think are definitely not worth the time or very inefficient, then I like to try and correct that. Now, I've stopped doing that recently because apparently people don't like that. But for instance, I've been told by one of these people as well that they noticed that they think that I'm upset whenever an appointment's made and they don't show up on time, or they make a promise and they can't deliver on time, and they tell me that I should just learn to be flexible and deal with that. Now, first of all, when you make an appointment with somebody, say that you want to meet at 1 o'clock to go discuss something, and you show up 50 minutes late, the person who was on time is not the person who needs to make adjustments. It's the person who was 50 minutes late, because they just wasted 50 minutes of somebody else's time. And like I said, time is money. They could have spent that time doing something else. And personally, I find it really disrespectful when people don't treat your time like it's worth anything. So I think the person who needs to adjust something is the person who is 15 minutes late, because that is really rude. And also saying to people that they need to be more flexible because they don't want to be on time for things, or they don't want to do the things that they promised on time, is also really rude. So when people say stuff like that to me, it goes in one ear, kind of sticks around for a while, but then goes out the other, because I honestly can't do anything with that. I respect people's time. When I make an appointment with somebody, I'm there at the allotted time, sometimes even earlier, so that we can get started and we can finish on the time that we also agreed on, because who knows what the person's schedule looks like after the meeting time is over. They may have another meeting to go to. I can't ask them to then postpone that meeting, so other people have to wait for us. Just show up on time and make sure everything is done within the time that has been set out for it beforehand. It's not difficult. I know it can be hard to conceptualize being on time, like occasionally looking at the clock to see what time it is and maybe trying to plan your work around that. But it's possible. People do it all the time, as a matter of fact. And I think a lot of people who are neurodivergent also see this inefficiency and want to make things more efficient. because it's really frustrating when things are not efficient, and in particular when things are being kept inefficient. That is very frustrating when the people around you, for some reason, like to hang on to that way of working or doing things, even though you know that things could be done so much faster, and that by planning ahead, you can get things done on time. That's really annoying. And then the cherry on the cake is when people start to tell you that you shouldn't be so hell-bent, I guess, for a lack of a better term, on making things more efficient, like you're the problem. If we were to do things in a way that neurodivergent people like to do, and particularly those with autism who like to have things done very efficiently, at least as per the stereotype, I think we could definitely go for a 4 or 3 day work week, because we would just be doing the things that we need to do in record time pretty much. And working together would be very efficient as well, because everybody would be on the same page. We'll be like, okay, we need to get these things done. When can we do it? Then and then, okay, I'll be there. And then we're there at that moment. We're going to do the things that we wanted to do. We've also prepared beforehand, before the meeting, so we can get started right away on the thing we're going to be discussing, work it out, and then take our notes and work those out, and then get the whole thing done at the end of the week. And I said earlier, time is money. And that also goes for the boss, of course. They pay people to do a certain job. Personally, I think accepting the job is like accepting that you're going to spend the time that they are paying you for to do the things that make the company profit. Now, I know that they tend to say like, oh, people can only really use about 80% of their time efficiently, like 20% is going to be used on ad hoc stuff and things like that. But that assumes that the 80% of the time that they don't have to spend on those ad hoc things are spent efficiently. That might be a big assumption. So how neurodivergent are we really? Because I think if you look at it, things will be a lot more smoother if we try to work towards efficiency. Maybe the only reason why we are divergent is because there's less of us. And if like 90% of the people were the way neurodivergents, quote unquote, are, the people that are currently considered neurotypicals would have a terrible time, because they would be so busy trying to socialize with everybody that they wouldn't get their work done on time. And their boss would not be very happy with them. And then they would be the ones making videos about how difficult it is to be different than the average person. That would be a very interesting world. Unfortunately, we'll probably never see that. Anyway, I don't feel like rambling, so I'm actually going to cut it off here, efficiently and all that. And I'm going to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in another video, and bye-bye for now.